Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's such a blessing to be here today. And I sent out a text saying that the transmissions, the transmissions are coming in strong today. And so I want to just open up here with an intention, a prayer for us, prayer for the world, as we get ready for just an hour and a half of remembering. And so allow yourself to arrive to the now, to the here and the now. And so we welcome in this moment of stillness and calm and peace. Dear Lord, Great Spirit, we give this call over to you. We give over the need to control, the need to be right, the need to analyze, the need to understand. We give over to you the attachment to any results. We give our relationships, our conversation over to you. And help us and guide us in our listening and our speaking and our thinking. That may the transmissions come in clear. And as we talk about the passing of the dream and the basis of the dream today, help us be able to listen with clarity and to calm any wars that are currently residing within us. We don't need to fight it. We simply just need to shed some light. Help us be more compassionate, more kind, more understanding today. And heal our hearts, heal the hearts of all of our brothers and sisters out there, as we all have individual classrooms that we are all in. May all that come ahead for us be met with curiosity, so that they're not battlefields, but they're learning opportunities. And help us remember, so that we stop reacting from fear. And also help us remember that everything that happens is guided by you. And no matter no matter how we interpret, it's always going to serve the greater good. And may that be enough for us today. Amen. Aho. Okay. Welcome everyone to chapter 18, section 2, the basis of the dream. Last week we started chapter 18, which is pretty awesome. It was the substitute reality. And what we've been doing is we are uncollapsing the dream and the dreamer. And I was sitting in the ceremony last weekend. It was really, really beautiful. And we talked a lot about our childhood traumas and the little us that I wrote in my book called The Contract That I Didn't Know I Signed. The things that we took on that weren't really the truth, but how we experienced it, how we experienced the world and what we made up about the events that happened. And so if the dreamer and the dream are not the same, then the question becomes, what holds the dream in place? And so as we begin to remember and recognize that the dream itself, the experience of it, is not who we are. It's just our mind watching and telling ourselves a story. And we're going to go deeper. And I've been having really, really deep transmission since my last journey, my last ceremony. And I've been going into little Alex And it's been quite some time since I dove into that. And it's really brought a lot of clarity and helped me understand the Course a lot more too. So I hope that on this call here today, I'm going to be able to relay the message. So I do ask, I've been praying all morning for Spirit to guide me in the sharing of what I've been downloading. And so there are things that happen to us. In the beginning of my chapter that I wrote, I wrote that fear didn't come first. Confusion came first. The ego didn't come first. Right? So the ego came, it's confusion first, then fear, then the ego came. And so when things happen, when things seem to be happening to us, we don't really understand it. And so instead, and we were young and we were little and we didn't have the language, or we didn't have the framework to be able to discern and to understand why things are happening. And it still happens to us today. But instead of questioning the meaning of something, what we did was we took these events seriously. And the Course says that. The Course says the initial tiny mad idea that somehow we could be separate from God and from each other and from heaven, we took that seriously. And we took it too seriously. And when we take events and situations too seriously, and for me it was, the breakup of my mom and my dad, and to be plucked from one world and brought to another. Like, I made up stories about all those things. I made it something about myself, and I made it something about the world and about love. And so from confusion, right, from this confusion, from not remembering, from forgetting, fear arose. And so the ego itself, the Course has been telling us that the ego is an illusion. And it wasn't until that I really had these downloads say that I really, really understood what that meant. I deepened, it grew roots, to really understand what the ego is. The ego is really the response. It was a response to taking fear too seriously. It's a response to us forgetting. And it isn't the truth. And so if we can simply just allow that to be with us today, that the ego and all the things that come of the ego is not the truth, and that the ego is actually not an enemy. The ego is a contract. The ego is a strategy that we took on. It's a survival response to forgetting. It is not ourselves. It isn't even part of ourselves. It is something that was created as a result of not remembering, of being in confusion. So I called this the contract that I didn't know I signed. It's not a conscious agreement. It's really like, in our legal system, if you sign a contract while you're not in a right state of mind, or if you're intoxicated, that contract is void. And it's the same thing that we can relate, we can assign to some of the things that we hold as truth for us. We've signed these contracts and they're not the truth, and we signed them not in the right state. We were intoxicated, or we were in a confused and forgetful mind. So things like, I need to be in control, or I'm never going to let this happen to me again, I'm going to stay guarded. All those contracts, the survival contracts that we signed, are actually underneath all the things, and we experience the rest of the world. We experience everything else with that. It's like I wrote in my book, it's like a virus that was just spreading, and we didn't even know. We didn't know. We didn't know that we signed these contracts. We signed them because we were in a confused state. So these contracts that we signed, they're not birthed from truth. So if not birthed from truth, then we can start to separate this. This is the separation of the dreamer and the dream. Right? So think about all the things all the ideas and the truths that we hold about ourselves in response to confusion, which caused our nervous system to act a certain way, and we created all this armor. And all this armor is not liberating us, it's actually suffocating us. And when we begin to uncollapse the dream and the dreamer, that this whole thing has been held together by an illusion, by a contract that we didn't really agree to. At least not from a state of love, not from a state of truth. And the ego is literally just this paperwork, this contract that we signed. And it can't be upheld, right? Because we were not in the right state of mind. So if we think about it like that, we don't have to fight the ego. We simply have to just bring it to light. And I talk about this in my chapter that, what did little Alex need? Little Alex did not need to be fixed. Little Alex did not need to be told what to do and what not to do. Little Alex needed compassion and understanding and empathy, right? That we just needed to bring that to light, and that it was okay to experience what I was experiencing. And so I think I'm going to start today by reading my chapter. And I haven't done this in a while. I've been writing a lot in the last 2 years, but very rarely does something come through so strong that it's actually had me rewrite the entire format of the book. So I am going to just read this first before we go into chapter 18, section 2. Let me just move it here. Okay. So this book has been evolved many times. It's gone through lots of changes. It's gone from had you have faith, you wouldn't need a miracle. I think that's going to actually turn into just a chapter maybe in the book. It's gone through tribal mindset, lazy lover, and has evolved to perhaps maybe even the final version, or maybe it'll just be another chapter, but it's called The Language of Peace. And so in order to understand the language of peace, we also have to understand the language of the ego and the language of survival. And so I'm just going to read, I'll read this to start. And yeah. And thank you guys for holding it down and for holding this space for me for so many years as I'm coming to a interesting chapter and the conclusion of 2025, moving into 2026. I see amazing blockages and cords have been cut in these in just a very short time, and I'm really excited for that. So I have, this is something that I have been working on for a little bit, and so I wanted to share this. Just know it's still pretty rough, but I've been working a lot on this. So, and it's broken down into a couple sections. So it's the language of peace, the contract I didn't know I signed. The first feeling was not fear, it was confusion. Not the kind that you can explain or even ask questions about. The kind that presses on you without words, the kind that doesn't say something is wrong, but whispers nothing makes sense anymore. One day I was going to school, the next I was on another planet. New country, new language, new rules, new faces staring at me like I was something unfamiliar. I didn't understand what anyone was saying. I didn't understand why I was there. I didn't understand why my life had been picked up, turned upside down, and dropped somewhere without warning. I didn't lose my footing. The entire ground beneath me disappeared. If I'm honest, it felt less like immigration, but more like abduction. And the world became dangerous. And to rewind for a moment, before the move, my parents' marriage had already broken. My father had an affair, my mother divorced him, and I was young enough that I didn't fully understand betrayal or infidelity. I just knew that one day my family wasn't whole anymore, and shortly after that, neither was my world. I didn't talk to my father for 7 years after we moved to the States. There was no explanation that made sense to a child, only absence. And the absence doesn't feel neutral. It feels like anger. Suddenly the world felt unpredictable, unsafe, confusing. And when a world feels dangerous, the nervous system does what it's designed to do. It adapts. The nervous system does not choose truth, it chooses safety. And there were no conversations about feelings, no frameworks, no one sitting me down saying this is hard and what you're feeling makes sense. What I felt instead was pressure without words, a tightening in my body, a readiness, a constant scanning of the room. I learned very quickly that being seen as weak felt more threatening than to be seen as aggressive. Kids laughed, kids stared, kids sensed something different, and without understanding why, I began to build armor. Not consciously, not thoughtfully, but instinctively I started to build armor. What protected me from pain was also protecting me from love. I didn't know how to say I was scared. I didn't know how to say I was sad. I didn't even know that those were options. What I did know was this: if it looked dangerous, maybe I wouldn't be targeted. If I looked dangerous, maybe I wouldn't be targeted. If I was unpredictable, maybe I'd be left alone. And if I was tough, then I'd survive. So I fought. I ran away from school. I punched other kids in the face. And at home, the pressure leaked out in explosion. My mom and my sister often took the impact of the emotions I didn't know how to hold. And looking back, my heart aches for them. But at that time, I wasn't choosing violence. I was only choosing survival without knowing what I was doing. And here's the contract that I didn't know I signed. This is where the core idea of this book begins. I believe in moments of shock, trauma, and abandonment, we unconsciously into what I would now call in this book the survival contract. Not a contract that we read, not one that we agree to. It's a contract that our nervous system signs on our behalf. Mine went something like this: the world is dangerous. Being vulnerable is unsafe. If I'm tough, unpredictable, and impressive, I might survive. And your contract might sound something different. Some contracts may say don't trust anyone. Others may be useful or you're worthless. And others may say never need anyone, never ask for help. The words change, but the agreement is always the same. Give up peace, gain survival. I didn't know that I signed this contract, but it governed everything that followed. How I showed up, how I related to others, how I measured my worth, how I protected myself from being hurt again. This contract wasn't evil. It was intelligent. It did exactly what it was designed to do. It kept me alive. But survival is not the same as peace. And something essential was missing, though I didn't know yet what the words were. Without a father figure, I learned what it meant to be a man from wherever I could. Television, movies, action heroes, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Steven Seagal. Strength meant toughness. Respect meant fear. Safety meant dominance. I absorbed all of this without question, and I thought I had figured everything out on my own. I developed what A Course in Miracles later calls the authority problem, though I didn't know that language at the time. The belief sounded like this: I know how to be safe. I know how the world works, and I don't need help. This I know mentality locked my false identity into place. It kept mentors out, it kept softness out, and it kept God out. Violence worked briefly. I got what I thought was respect. I felt powerful for a moment, but something else was happening. People didn't feel closer to me. They were wary. Trust eroded, connection thinned. And in my later relationships, I lost my temper and broke things. The same patterns repeated. Power in the moment and shame afterwards. I thought I was earning respect, but what I was doing was actually losing love. And here's the hinge that I didn't see. The contract that kept me alive is now keeping me from living. Survival had become suffering. Control had become disconnection. And the armor that once protected me now imprisons me. Years later, when I heard the question, would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? That was something that cracked me open, because finally I saw I saw the trade I've been making my whole life. One of the core teachings of this book and A Course in Miracles is this: situations are not what they appear to be, they are interpretations. But when we don't understand what we're feeling, when we don't know the language of fear, grief, or loss, those feelings don't disappear. They become background programs, like a virus running underneath every experience. What we can't name, we relive. If I had the language back then, if I had someone to sit down with me, if someone understood me and gave me the framework, I might have learned earlier that my reactions wasn't the proof of who I was. They were just signals. And here's the hope at the center of this book. No matter how many years you live inside survival contract, no matter how intense the trauma, when you learn this language, healing can happen in a moment. Just as I once was ripped from one world and dropped into another, there are moments when practicing this language feels like shot into a new reality. A world where safety doesn't require armor, where strength doesn't require violence, where peace is not earned but remembered. What I needed back then wasn't discipline, wasn't correction or toughness. I needed someone to understand, to bring compassion, to name what was happening, to show me I wasn't broken. I was just adapting. Compassion would have shortened the war. This book is written for that boy and for anyone who signed a contract they didn't know they were signing and is now ready to live a different agreement. So that is my writing of, and then it comes perfectly in line with chapter 18, section 2. And we all have the little boy, the little girl that's inside. And it's been hard to reflect back to what I thought was already healed, and to actually recognize the contract and the sub-personalities that were created. And so I'm actually really excited for 2026. One of the things that I'm most excited about is to do the Alchemy of Self course with Claudia and Adam. And it was actually, and I think all of this actually may have started just by saying yes to this program that they run, to identify all the sub-personalities, to be able to look at them, to really uncollapse these things that we aren't these sub-personalities. These were contracts that we signed that served us at different times. And yes, perhaps they did serve us. But the purpose of them is to help us remember who is actually observing all of those, and to be able to recognize and name the I with the capital I that is seeing the eyes that are little eyes. And so that is something that's been coming through really strong. And another thought that I was having, another aha moment, is about the ego. That the course has been talking about how the ego is an illusion, and that and I've been seeing it. And the course is about correcting the cause and effect, and I've been studying and teaching the course in a way where the ego creates this and that. And if you choose the ego, if you choose the spirit, well, now we're going deeper with the ego, that the ego actually, the reason why it's not real is because it's not the cause of anything either. It was also the effect of the original tiny mad idea of somehow we could be separate. And when we took that conversation seriously, confusion happened, right? Because now we're like, I'm by myself and I don't know what this means. And we're experiencing things not from a place of whole and healed, but we're experiencing life from a place of separation, individuality, and it's scary. We think that everything out there in the world is here to hurt us, and we have dreams and we have visions of really terrible things, and they all come from us. They all come from the way in which we viewed our past and the way in which we view the world. So when we flip those things around and we look at the projections, right, the actual the movie that's playing out in front of us, it's actually a feedback screen to what I am making real in my mind. And if I give over power, right, to the screen itself, if I say, okay, if the movie was just a little bit different, then I would enjoy the movie more. No, it's not the movie itself. It's the way that we are and how we watch the movie. The way in which we watch the movie is what is truly going to make us feel fulfilled and joyful. So, yeah, I think I'll take a pause here for a second just to open up the space for anybody that wants to add anything. Um, yeah, it's a great conversation, awareness that's been coming and channeling through. So whether you're watching on socials or if you are here on the Zoom, you can either share or you can type in the chat. We'll have to just hear anything. Any other thoughts want to come in here today?
Not my plate, please.
Hold on. It's just Donna. So, when you were talking about hiding your vulnerability, I remember reading a letter my daughter kind of wrote to herself in a way. Just to, like, she just wanted to be tough because she didn't want to feel vulnerable. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, that is something similar in that. And the compassion, I think, lacking compassion, that is sort of a reflection of my whole life too. So there was so much in your chapter that I just resonated with. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this is something that also came up during our last ceremony was the answer to everything is compassion. Compassion to it all. If we try to fight it, we only hold it in place. We only make it more real. And just like what little Alex needed, it's what all of our conversations need. Any fears that we may have and any insecurities and doubts and where we lack faith and belief, like we don't need to shame it, wrong it, or guilt it. It's just we need to give it love, compassion, like light. We bring it to light. Light is compassion. Light is love. Light is understanding. And when we try to judge something, analyze something, these comparisons, like they all come from a place of doubt. You're looking at doubt and you're looking at confusion with doubt and confusion. So of course, what's going to be the result, right? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Lisa.
Sorry, to get myself off mute. When you talked about watching the movie and how you watch the movie, and it's not about the movie, what really came through for me was so clear. It was like, oh, a previous learning from a life paradigm I was stuck in before. But I'm so glad I had that learning because I can really apply it to what you just said about watching how we watch the movie. Uh, Being an active member of a really high demand religion for my basically 50 years of life or
Hmm.
more.
Yeah.
Often, when you go to church every Sunday and the denomination I was a part of, all the members participate. It's very like open. Like people are assigned talks. We don't have a pastor preaching every Sunday.
Hmm.
It's a lot of just membership sharing and get a lot of weird and a lot of boring and a lot of uninspiring meetings. And I remember hearing in several meetings over many years, it's the spirit you bring to the meeting. It's like, what are you bringing to your church attendance rather than what are you taking? And I would always think about that when I was in a meeting and very uninspired or having all of my deep questioning thoughts that I wasn't able to speak.
Yeah.
And I would always come away with something. So it was like, I really feel like I learned myself out of the religion by having that attitude of watching the movie differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm grateful for that experience because now when you just said that, I'm in this deep place of huge confusion right now.
Mm.
And that's so helpful for right now because I'm having a different movie to watch and it's how I'm watching it. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And that like inspiring part's like, oh, these people are not inspiring and these people aren't, they're boring and all of these things. It's like we can find a tree, a flower, a leaf, a piece of a leaf of grass inspiring if we look at it from the lens of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's beautiful. Thank you for that share. Anybody else? What else is coming through as we share about our little selves, and
I'll share, Alex.
yes, please.
I love what you said that what does little Alex need and what is he still, you know, wanting through your adult life? And yeah, that made me think of what my little Yvette is
Hmm.
wanting, and still through my daily actions, you know, everything I'm doing, still what's underneath it all? What's that craving underneath it all? And been through a lot of healing, but still there's those basic needs. And I signed a contract,
Hmm.
right? I went through a lot of things, and I'm ready to be grateful for that and create a new one. And so thank you for sharing all that and for putting all that love into your book. And I know it's going to be amazing whenever it comes out. And just thankful for you and your community and for everything you put out with so much love.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, the contracts that we signed. So I've actually turned this chapter, this program, and I'm sitting with it for as long as I can. I'm just really grateful that I'm in this space. And oftentimes I'm reading and I'm thinking about this, and it's actually getting me like really emotional in the spaces. And I'm sitting in this big conference this week, and I'm just sitting here like they're talking about business and stuff like that. I'm like over here emotional, just writing. But I am bringing an entire process into our next live event about the undoing of the survival contracts. So if anybody is not coming to Legends Breakthrough January 8th to the 10th yet, I'm going to invite you guys to come. And as a gift to this community and to everybody that has been, a part of it, I'm going to comp your tickets. Now, I know some people have paid, but just, I it's grateful for that because the event does cost a lot of money to run. And so, yeah, but anybody here, if you message me directly that you are coming to the event, and for sure it's the 8th to the 10th, it's all day, so don't plan anything else. Be here the day before. And yeah, it's going to be, it's already starting to take shape, and no two events are ever the same. So you don't want to miss this January 8th to the 10th one. Awesome. Little plug right there. Anybody else want to add anything about the conversation we're having today before we dive into chapter 18, section 2, the basis of the dream? What are you hearing about the little Alex, the little you?
Hey Alex, thank you for sharing that today. It's interesting when you read about how you're confused when you're younger, and I've been going through some childhood stuff as well lately, and it's really interesting how I had this when the event occurred when I was younger. I didn't think anything of it, but as I grew older and started to think about it, I was like, wow, that's not right. And it really confused me in a really deep way. And it like linked confusion, feeling confused, with the feeling of being betrayed. 'Cause I felt betrayed through being confused. And then it opened up or uncovered this thing in me that's like a fear of being confused, that if I'm confused, then I'm not safe.
Yeah.
So just been working with like letting my inner child know and letting myself know that it's okay to be confused. It's a completely normal thing. It's a normal thing for the brain to work something out.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to get confused, and working to like not fear confusion, which has been very interesting.
Yeah. And we tend to go down a rabbit hole around assigning more meaning to these things, right? It's like, oh, well, yeah, that was betrayal. And then we should go down this rabbit hole of everything else. And so what the and it's not that we need to do anything about it. It's just to be the observer of that experience, and Eastern teaching says, let it come, let it rise, and let it pass. We don't have to attach to it. And what we don't want to do is when we look back at that, we sign a new contract, right? We look back at our little child and we're like, oh, well, yeah, I definitely feel betrayed. And now I sign another contract out of confusion and fear, right? That like, oh, I'm never going to let this happen again. Or I need this to happen in order for me to satisfy this old version of me or make right or justify. These are just more unconscious contracts that we're going to sign. So it's really about giving it over to the Holy Spirit and say, okay, this happened, right? I mean, for me, parents divorced, right? My dad had got someone else pregnant, and I was around, and I was like, oh, cool. This is just another person that my dad got pregnant. There was no shame or guilt or anything that I assigned to it until it was given to me. It was told to me to assign it that way until my world started breaking down and I started to assign all these things, right? So and I'm not going to condone that these are good behaviors, but this is for us to look at ourselves, to release ourselves of the contracts that we signed, right? All the things that we're like, these are truths. This is how this happened. This is how I was. This is why I'm this way. Well, all of that has no foundations. And it's not to dismiss or make small of your experience itself, is that those experiences do not define you and should not be in the same category as a truth for you. They're simply your interpretations. This is what we're doing, is we're going to be uncollapsing the two things. What's the truth for me? The truth of who I am, the truth of the essence of myself, of Alex, and the interpretations that I've assigned to all of these things. I was young. I didn't have the framework. I didn't know any better. Okay. You're okay for experiencing that, little Alex. It's okay that you lashed out and you did all these things. But now we're starting to build a framework around it. We're starting to name these things. Now to relive those things is to say we're still going to live. We're still choosing the unconscious. We're still choosing confusion. Right? So if you were given the two paths, and now you are given the two paths, it's for us to make a decision. And this is what the Course says. If you experience something, this is why we're now going to be setting intentions and goals for every moment of our lives. That I give this moment to you, Lord. Show me what it's meant to be. Right? I'm no longer going to be making decisions from a place of fear. And when we don't set that intention for ourselves, like even if we look back at the little Alex, I'm going to set an intention right now as I look back. I'm going to heal. I'm going to be able to uncollapse these things. I want to know what are the survival contracts that I signed, that my nervous system signed on my behalf because I wasn't in the right state of mind. I was still confused. So from that space, okay, now that I have this framework and I'm setting the intention for it, because if we don't, what happens is we'll look back at that experience, and now the ego is going to process that, to analyze that for us. We'll assign meaning again, right? Left unchecked, our nervous system, our old survival contracts that run underneath everything is going to come and sign again. And this is now to bring, the invitation here as we're in chapter 18 and as we study this, is that we bring this level of presence to ourselves. And now we can take responsibility of how we show up and how we respond to any situation, right? Because now that we know, and if we run into another situation and we respond with anger, lashing out, all of that, that's on us. And again, the answer is always to meet it with compassion. I've had a recent lash out, just like an explosion. And it's, for some, you might be like, oh my God, I can't even imagine that with Alex. But yeah, it happens, and I just like this pressure cooker of feeling of not enoughness and everything, and the pressure of the world, things exploded sideways. And then and from this, because I'm meeting it with compassion, because I'm feeling a lot of shame and guilt around it and all that, but I'm meeting it with compassion, and it's brought me back to a new vision, to a new download. And I'm constantly praying and giving it over. Be like, let me view this not from a place of shame and guilt. And then what reigns over is gratitude and compassion. So much compassion so that it's very emotional. And so, everything in my entire life has led me to this moment to learn and to choose not from my survival contracts, but from the language of peace, from the contract of peace. So I'm signing a new contract every day from the now Alex with a different framework. I'm signing new contracts. Right? I'm not, and the new contracts are, is compassion to all these things. So yeah. Any other thoughts that you guys want to put into this space as we talk about our little selves?
Hey, aloha, everybody.
What up?
What's up, brother? Hey, I came in a little bit late, but for the little bit that I caught, coming in late, so much respect and appreciation and adoration for the inner child work. I really resonate with you and others that are nurturing and nourishing our inner child. I feel like that's like, honestly, that's where it's at. With all due respect to myself and all parts of ourself here. Yeah, I don't think there's any more important work that we could do, honestly, and how that lines up for me right now. I think it's kind of relevant here. My mother passed away the same day that my 4-year-old was born, on June 15th of 2021. And I went to Miami, Florida with a beautiful, kind young lady who I was in relation with. And we had this amazing birthing experience in Miami. And my mom passed away at 11:11 a.m. in Orlando. And my son, my third child, Jade Hart Avalon, our universal Jade Hart of Avalon, was born at 22:22 later that evening in Miami. So my mother Pandora and my son Jade Hart had a little cosmic handshake going on in the great state of beingness. And so, like, I'm just relating to you, brother, like how difficult of a childhood and things, and how much that impacts us on our subliminal, and how I have recognized myself unconsciously playing out all these different relationships and as you would say, contracts or agreements with other souls based off of like this unconscious thing that I absorbed as a little innocent child. And I was just having this conversation deep down where we're all just like innocent children of God and of nature. And if we can just like allow ourselves to really sink into that, the reflection that's coming up for me is that whatever my son reflects back to me is the progression and the development that I'm achieving in my soul's journey. And I'm undoing all of those I am consciously undoing all of those unconscious patterns and programs that were passed along to me through my mother and my father, hence the birthing of Avalon Alchemista. That was how Avalon Alchemista came into existence and came into creation, was through the cleansing of the karma with Pandora. My mother, a very legendary soul, literally. I think it's appropriate since this is the Legends group. Like, I learned everything about darkness and chaos and disorder and dysfunction through Pandora. And I also learned a lot about love and beauty and kindness, and it was total contrast, total polarity. But thank God that the Lord and that the Divine Mother gifted me Jade Heart Avalon, who I'm here with, having the best, cleanest, and clearest parent-child experience, and he does nothing but bring joy and pure reflection to me. So, like, no matter what other people may think about me or my being or my presence, the real truth is being reflected to me in the way that my son vibrates and laughs and plays with me. And so, like, I know that that's like the purest reflection. So I just send blessings to you and your beloved Alex. I remember Love putting on the little pregnant like pillow thing at Salt Lake, and this is all just coming up in this moment. Like, nothing's planned, it's all just live in the moment, right? And like, just seeing and acknowledging your future baby and just holding space in my heart for you and your beloved, and for, everybody in this process. Like, it's the kids, it's the children that reflect that true purity back to us. So you'll know how well you're doing your inner child work based off of your relationship with your child. It's just a beautiful, sacred, innocent, pure reflection.
Awesome.
And I think, thank you for doing that work, brother.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Okay, so Love says, well, it's not big enough for people to read, but I will read it. It says, I've had long-standing complaint about Course in Miracles that letting it go and giving it to God without metabolizing pain just preserves the behavior, which is spiritual bypassing. It can reduce suffering without increasing capacity. Here, you took the time to feel what happened instead of immediately giving it to God. And in that, you uncovered the origins of the behavior, and insight still not mean integration. How do we integrate? Yeah, so great question. And, just some thoughts about that. First of all, it has been given over to God, and it's always given over to God. The Course does not say that you give it over to God doesn't mean it's over. You give it over to God so that you can have a different perspective around what's going on, right? Because what the Course says is what we want to do, right? What this ego, this contract that wants to do is let me make sense of it first, right? And what's going to happen is we're trying to understand it through the lens of this fearful contract. And so we're never going to understand it. We're just going to run in circles around it, right? We're going to shame this and say, this is good, this is bad, let me look at this, let me look at that. But given over to God is what has brought, it went from an explosion given over to God, and God has been showing, here's the path. What's been around you is your brother. We have a good brother that's working with his inner child right now. And so here, it's a reflection back for you to look, but given over to God allows me to listen and see better of what is wanting to be experienced now. And so the Course integration is to be able to live into this new present moment, into the present moment that, will have you look at your childhood, but also not at your own time, right? If we're like, no, now is the time that you need to look at this, and then now is the time you need to look at that, now is the time that you need to heal from this, that is our agenda, and that is our judgment of the agenda on others. But given over to God, it's all already healed. But which one will you need to look at right now? That's what will show up as us being in the classroom. So the integration is about deepening our trust and our faith. The integration is, how do we respond and how will we meet these things again? How will we meet this child version of myself when it comes again? How will we meet it in others? How will we see what is the reason for it? Right? The integration is, who will I now choose? Which vision will I start to choose to look at things with? Right? All things are just different forms of the same thing. Different forms of the contracts that we signed, different forms of control, different forms of fear, different forms of judgment, different forms of attack, defense. All of these things were built as a result of our nervous system not understanding what's going on around us. So the understanding there, the Course says there's a knowing that is beyond all understanding. And so it's not that, I guess this whole spiritual bypassing conversation, right? That only comes from spiritual bypass itself. First of all, in reality with a capital R, there is nothing to bypass, and there is nothing that's not spiritual. So, it's a returning, it's a remembering. From the space of returning and remembering, we can look upon ourselves and we can give the little Alex compassion. We can give the reactions from our survival contracts compassion. Or we can say, wow, this was what has been operating underneath all this time. How will we meet ourselves now? How will we meet others when we see their little selves come out now? See, all of this is an integration of compassion and sympathy and empathy. And the goal, what is the goal? The goal isn't to make right or make sense of something. The goal is to return to love and to peace. And while we are in this human body, in this classroom, yes, you can experience things fully, but how long does it take? Right? Who determines how much time we're supposed to give to something before we're supposed to move on? Is it 1 hour? Is it a day? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? How long should I grieve? How long should I be working on this for? And so that's, the Course says, you will work on it for as long as you feel the need to, until you're ready to just say, here you go, God, it's yours. But don't try to purify the thoughts and then give it to God. Because the purification of these thoughts and experiences is with Holy Spirit's vision, with God. That's the only way that we'll be able to look upon everything with clarity. To be in a hurt state and look back upon the hurt is hurt plus hurt is hurt. The result is going to be hurt. Right? So we're trying now to look back upon it, not having our ego look back upon it, but we're looking back with love and compassion through the lenses of Christ consciousness with God, with the Holy Spirit, so that we may uncollapse who we thought we were. These explosions, these contracts that we signed, they are not you. They are not me. And it's an ongoing work. If God says you need to stay in it, and I'm being told right now to stay in it longer, right? I'm being shown something, stay in it longer, process it, write it. The integration is, how much can we trust? How clear can we see what we're supposed to be doing? And that doesn't mean the next time that something comes up, I'm like, oh, I just need to now stay in it and go through it, right? It's the same thing. Let me give it over to God. God will show me how long should I stay with it? This is the practice of being able to listen. How can we listen better? The whole point of integration is really, can I listen better? Can I listen better so that I may now see what's actually happening? It's funny. Let me listen better so I can see clearer. That's great. Yeah, if you want to add more things to it, I'd love to hear what else. Before we read chapter 18, section 2. And this is something that everybody can relate to, right? This is it's not isolated to Alex. Now, the situation itself may be different, right? The Course says the form of it. Form is anything that is happening in this world, in the physical world, that's form. The form may look different, but remember, all things are the same. The contract that we signed was I sign for survival and I give up peace. Every contract is that, but in different forms. So then if we can bring all of those fragmented versions of forms back into one, then we can access compassion and forgiveness to everyone, no matter what they're experiencing, right? It doesn't just have to be, I don't have to just access compassion to only people that were plucked from their life and moved to another country where they don't speak the language and this and that. Yes, that's going to resonate with me a lot more, but I can extend compassion beyond that. As long as I recognize what's the actual content, what's at the level of mind, which is the piece that was given up for survival and control. Okay? Awesome. Who wants to share something? Looks like people went on mute or came on camera. I don't know if you guys want to say something or...
How did you learn English? You were young?
How did I learn English? Yeah, I mean, I was in second grade. So naturally, when you're in an environment long enough, you'll learn it. I didn't have as many blockages. If I try to move to another country to learn now, it's too much mind. Yeah, but I came in second grade. I used to throw chairs at windows. I used to be so frustrated. I would run from school. Any kid that resembled even trying to laugh at me or anything, I would throw them into the locker. I would fight immediately. Like one wrong look, I took it as an attack and I would fight. Like second grade. That's how, that was the survival. That was the context, If I was unpredictable and scary, people wouldn't laugh or pick on me. Interesting how that has, it carries on so deep into my adulthood too. And if we don't laugh at it, if we don't give it love and meet it with love, then it's always going to have a grip on me,
Yeah, you're such a bully now.
I know.
Alex, I just want to say the way you expressed the writing a contract that we didn't know we wrote or signing it is so meaningful to me. My experience is so different from yours. My past is so different from yours, but I can really relate to that image, that expression, and it's really helpful. So thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. The one thing that I wrote as well in there is where did it go? I lost it. Oh, here it is. The one thing that I wrote in there is no matter how many years we have lived inside a survival contract, no matter how intense the trauma was for us, when we learn the language of peace, healing happens in a moment. And this is what the Course's main teaching is. It's like everything in our entire life has converged into this single next moment in our lives. Age does not matter. The level of trauma that was experienced does not matter. In this moment is full of infinite possibilities. You may remember And you may free yourself completely in this moment. That's what's possible. And that's the faith and the hope that the Course points us into, is this holy instant, right? The belief in the holy instant is what is going to heal us from thinking we need 10 years. I'm too old to be able to break through this pattern now. I'm too old to do this, or too big of a thing has happened to me that there's no way I can heal from this. I was raped. I was attacked, whatever, right? You know, all of these things in a single moment. The Course says, as we practice all of this, is for us to be able to return to a single moment, just like how I was plucked from one world and put into another. That level of shock, it's the same. Being shot back into this new reality of us being completely healed. New possibilities. You know, and this is my integration work. And whether that's where you're at now, that's your own classroom, your own journey. You know, I'm only going to share as a big brother and little brother of where I'm at, right? The Course says Jesus is simply big brother. Jesus is big brother that has gone beyond the body. That being at the time of being crucified, he was asking for love and compassion and forgiveness for the people that were doing that to him in that moment. That level of forgiveness is the reason why I wear a cross, is to remember that level of love and compassion. And it's guided me in some of the biggest challenges of my life that I'm experiencing this year. That can I access this level of forgiveness and still see the good when somebody has betrayed me, to where I feel like, what am I doing? How many times can it happen? Right? And still have faith, hold faith. How many times can we fall and still have faith that we'll get up? How many times can we see our brothers fall and make mistakes and still believe that they'll get up? Christ is the remembrancer. The remembrancer, it's a word that we use in the legendary tribe. Christ is the remembrancer for us all. And to be like Christ, I will be a remembrancer for my brothers and my sisters. I will be a remembrancer for myself. And there are many people this year that have been remembrancers for me. And so I'm extremely grateful, reflecting back to me, teaching me to receive. And this is the power of community. This is the power of the work that we're doing. This is the power of each one of you guys showing up every single week. We're going through a journey together. And I hope that we continue to share like this with each other, you know? Cool. Who else? Okay, then. I'm going once? Okay. We're going to read this section, and this is called the basis of the dream. So the Course is going to touch upon a little bit of what I have been sharing here. And it talks about the dream, right? Because we're really, the chapter is called the passing of the dream. It's not called you becoming the dream. It's called the passing of the dream. That means it's coming and then it goes, and we don't need to become it, right? So who's the witnesser of the things that are going on? All right. So again, welcoming yourself to the present moment, allowing yourself to be still. There was a lot that was shared, lots of aha moments. Maybe you're still analyzing and challenging and trying to figure out what all this means, but let's just let all that go for a moment as we allow the Course now to teach us. Chapter 18, Section 2. The basis of the dream. Does not a world that seems quite real arise in dreams? Yet, think what this world is. It is clearly not the world you saw before you slept. Rather, it's a distortion of the world planned solely around what you would have preferred. Here, you are quote-unquote free to make over whatever seemed to attack you and change into a tribute to your ego. Oof, the dream being changed into a tribute to your ego, which was outraged by the quote unquote attack. This was not your wish unless you saw yourself as one with the ego, which always looks upon itself, and therefore on you as under attack and highly vulnerable to it. Dreams are chaotic because they are governed by your conflicting wishes, and therefore they have no concern with what is true. They are the best example you could have of how perception can be utilized to substitute illusions for truth. You do not take them seriously on awakening because the fact that reality is so outrageously violated in them becomes apparent. Yet, they are a way of looking at the world and changing it to suit the ego better. They provide striking examples, both of the ego's inability to tolerate reality and your willingness to change reality on its behalf. You do not find the difference between what you see in sleep and on awakening disturbing. You recognize that what you see on waking is blotted out in dreams, yet on awakening, you do not expect it to be gone. In dreams, you arrange everything. People become what you have them to be, and what you do and what they do, you order. No limits on substitutions are laid upon you. For a time it seems as if the world were given you, and to make it what you wish. You do not realize that you are attacking it, trying to triumph over it and making it serve you. Dreams are perceptual temper tantrums in which you literally scream, "I want it thus," and thus it seems to be. And yet the dream cannot escape its origin. Anger and fear pervade it, and in an instant the illusion of satisfaction is invaded by the illusion of terror. For the dream of your ability to control reality by substituting a world that you prefer is terrifying. Your attempts to blot out reality are very fearful, and this you are not willing to accept. And so you substitute the fantasy that reality is fearful, that what you would not what you would do to it, and thus is guilt made real. So we're making dreams. This is the process in which we turn the dreams to serve the ego, which isn't real. It's the contract that we made from fear, which stemmed from confusion. Okay? We're literally taking everything in our life and our dreams, and we're going to serve this contract that we did not know and we did not agree to sign, but is running underneath us. Dreams show you that you have the power to make a world as you would have it be, and that because you want it, you see it. And while you see it, you do not doubt that it is real. Yet here is a world clearly within your mind that seems to be outside. You do not respond to it as though you made it, nor do you realize that the emotions the dreams produce must come from you. So you created a world in your mind which you are now making reality aligned to it. Projection makes the perception. The world is not what you think it is. You are dreaming it. It is the figures in the dream and what they do that seem to make the dream. You do not realize that you are making them act out for you, and if you did, the guilt would not be theirs, and the illusion of satisfaction will be gone. In dreams, these features are not obscured. You seem to waken, and the dream is gone, yet what you fail to recognize is that what caused the dream has not gone with it. So let me read that one more time. In dreams, these figures are not obscure. You seem to waken, and the dream is gone, yet what you fail to recognize is what caused those dreams have not gone with the dream. The contract in which those dreams are still that you interpreted it, and that you looked upon it, that is not gone. Just because you open your eyes and the world is different, what is underneath and what produced the dreams have not gone with those things. Your wish to make another world that is not real remains with you. And what you seem to waken to is but another form of the same world that you see in dreams. All your time is spent in dreaming. Your sleeping and your waking dreams have different forms. That is all. Their content is the same. They are your protest against reality and your fixed and insane idea that you can change it. In your waking dreams, the special relationship has a special place. It is the means by which you try to make your sleeping dreams come true. From this, you do not waken. The special relationship in your determination to keep your hold on unreality and to prevent yourself from waking. 1 second. And while you see more value in sleeping than in waking, you will not let go of it. The Holy Spirit, however practical in his wisdom, accepts your dreams and uses them as means for waking. You would have used them to remain asleep. I said before that the first change before dreams disappear is that your dreams of fear are changed to happy dreams. That is what the Holy Spirit does in special relationships. He does not destroy it nor snatch it away from you, but he does use it differently as a help to make his purpose real to you. The special relationship will remain not as a source of pain and guilt, but as a source of joy and freedom. It will not be for you alone, for therein lays its misery. As its unholiness kept it a thing apart, its holiness will become an offering to everyone. So as your fearful dreams are now turned into happy dreams, it is not just for you. Because as you withhold, this is the misery of the nightmares, the happy dreams is instilled in it the holiness that is offered to everyone, because you will bring forth that to everyone in every situation that you are part of. Your special relationship will be a means for undoing guilt in everyone blessed through your holy relationship. It will be a happy dream and one which you will share with all who come within your sight. Through it, the blessing of the Holy Spirit has laid upon it will be extended. Think not that he has forgotten anyone in your purpose he has given you, and think not he has forgotten you to whom he gave the gift. He uses everyone who calls upon him as a means for salvation for everyone, and he will waken everyone through you who offered your relationship to him. If you but recognize his gratitude, or mine through his, this is Big Brother Jesus talking to us, or mine through his, for we are joined as in one purpose, being of one mind with him. Let not the dream take hold to close your eyes. Is it not strange that dreams can make a world that is unreal? It is the wish to make it that is incredible. Your relationship with your brother has now become one in which the wish has become removed, because its purpose has been changed from one of your dream to one of truth. You are not sure of this because you think it may be this that is the dream. You're so used to choosing amongst dreams that you do not see that you have made at last the choice between truth and all illusions. Yet heaven is sure this is no dream. Its coming means that you have chosen truth, and it has come because you have been willing to let your special relationship meet its conditions. In your relationship with the Holy Spirit has gently laid the real world, the world of happy dreams, from which awakening is so easy and so natural. For as your sleeping and your waking dreams represent the same wishes in your mind, so do the real world and the truth of heaven will join the will of God. The dream of waking is easily transferred to its reality, for this dream reflects your will joined with the will of God, and what this will would have accomplished has never not been done. Wow, this is a real powerful section about the basis of our dreams. Right? That in the beginning of this section, it talks about how all of our dreams, the dreams that bring fear, the dreams that has our nervous system go into shock, is serving the ego. And again, the ego is an illusion only because of this process. The ego came as a contract. The ego came as a result of us experiencing fear. But fear also didn't come first. Fear came from confusion. Fear came from the fact that we took separation seriously. Fear came from us taking the traumas and the stories and all of that seriously. And yes, back in the day when we were young, when we were little Alex, little Tala, little Michael, little everybody, we didn't have the framework to be able to understand what was going on. So we experienced things and it didn't feel good. We were lost. We built these defenses. We signed these survival contracts that we did not know. We signed that our nervous system signed on our behalf. And it's gone burrowing into the rest of us, into the rest of the experiences of our entire life. And we have looked upon this world from that dream, from that illusion, that this is fearful. Everything, including our intuitions, sometimes are confused with the ego. And so in the beginning of this section, it's talking about the dream serving the ego to create more chaos, more confusion. And the most powerful thing from that section is just because you're sleeping and you wake up and the dream is gone, what brought that dream into your reality has not gone with it. The fear that you are interpreting the dream while you were asleep versus where you are in the real world, that is still with you. Just because the world has changed from one sleep state to one waking state, the nightmare is still there. So now the second half of this, the basis of the dream, is given over to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit turns your nightmare and all of that and your special relationships into a holy relationship. And the way that we notice that it happens, the way that we can recognize it's happening, is that this holy relationship is not serving me. This holy relationship is now joined with the will of God and is now serving all of my brothers and sisters. The gift that is not mine alone, to recognize that it is not mine and that it is all of my brothers and sisters, that's when you're going to start to live into the happy dream. There's no longer a separation and a division between me and someone else. I'm no longer looking through the lenses of the ego. I'm looking through the healed version of myself, the healed version, the nightmare to the happy dream. That is you recognizing your healed version. And as you recognize that, you can see the healing in somebody else while they're going through where they're going. Because now you can break time. You're now going into the holy instant. You can see that the next moment, because I went on my journey and I was able to awaken, it seemed like it was years and years of journey, but really it was one instant in which I chose and woke up. And that one instant is available to my brother who's going through extreme pain, who is doing things that he does not know. If he knew better, in one instant he would shift. He would go from betrayal and hurting and judgment and violence to kindness, to love. That doesn't happen over time. That happens in one instant. The Course is inviting us to the holy instant. Imagine that we can look upon everything out there and ourselves, that the very next instant, I can be completely healed from all my traumas. This is what the Holy Spirit's inviting us into. Your journey seemed long. The road seemed long to get to where you are right now. But all of that was happening with the survival contracts that we signed. That's why it was so long. We didn't know it was operating underneath. But now that we see, now that we have a framework, now that we have the language of peace, can we make a decision for the holy instant? And if we can make a decision of the holy instant for ourselves, that means we can do it for our brothers. Isn't this just forgiveness of the past? Yes, the Course uses it as forgiveness. Forgiveness is our tools to look on everything and say, I don't know what actually happened there. I signed the contract I didn't know that I signed. And that's all that happened. This person is also operating from a contract that he signed, right? We start to see past just the actions and the betrayals and the things that we thought happened. We interpreted a situation based on looking back at it, right? We don't really know what's happening. When my parents divorced, I didn't know what was happening. When my dad was bringing around another woman that was pregnant, I didn't know what was happening. That doesn't mean in those moments I didn't know what was happening. I didn't lose my peace. I was still having fun, joyful. I loved that my dad was around. There was no judgment. And then something was shown, right? My world fell apart. My mom and my dad left. The conflict, the war happened. I'm like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? Why did I have to be plucked from my world and brought into an alien planet where I didn't speak the language, everybody looked weird, and all this other stuff is happening? What did I do wrong? Right? But that's not what actually is happening. On the surface, that is what's happening, but what's really happening is little Alex now trying to interpret his feelings and experience from zero framework. And without that zero framework, the nervous system takes over, and the nervous system starts to sign contracts to protect. And then the armor comes on. And then, oh, somebody's laughing at me. I don't like, somebody's laughing. They're not even laughing at me. I'm like, are they laughing at me? Because I'm feeling a little insecure here. So I put this armor on. And I'm like, if I become really unpredictable, if I become very violent, then people will respect me. People will stop laughing around me. But what's actually happening there? What's actually happening is there's a confused little boy not knowing, not having a framework to be able to assess what's going on in his life. And now that we are having a framework and we all are on this journey, we're adults now. If we still operate from that nervous system, the nervous system is only designed to adapt. That's all the nervous system is doing. Do not let your nervous system sign contracts for you anymore now that you have a framework. That's what the Course is telling us. You now have a framework. Your nervous system follows your understanding of what's going on. Your nervous system, when it can be calm if your mind is calm. But if our nervous system acts first, our mind runs all over the place. It's unsure who signed the contract, what's happening. And so those survival contracts look like I need to be in control. I can't be safe around this person. You know, I got to get these people out of my lives. They're a danger to me. They're a danger to my family. They're a danger to my heart. Those are not truths. And this is what we're doing in the Course, is we're uncollapsing those things. And we are no longer going to identify ourselves with the contracts that we signed that we didn't know we signed. Okay, we're taking all those contracts, we're bringing it to court now. Holy Spirit's the court, and we're like, hey, I was intoxicated, I was confused when I signed this. They're null and void. It works in our world. If you sign a contract and you're intoxicated and not in the right state of mind, the court system says this contract is not upheld. All right, that's exactly what we're doing here. All right, we are going to take our contracts that we signed and we are going to bring it to court, and then we are going to burn them. All right, so somebody remind me, maybe Eric, whoever sits in our ceremonies, in the next fire ceremony that I do, remind me about this survival contract speech that I'm going to do. Okay? Awesome. What are you guys hearing? We have about 5 more minutes here. Sorry, I told you guys that today's transmission was going to come on really strong. Wrote a chapter. Working with little Alex has been very emotional. Has been a really fun, interesting time. So, yeah. Love to hear some thoughts. Eric's unmuted. Jess is also hands up. So go ahead, Jess. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say that I'll remind you. I'd
Okay.
be happy to remind you.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing all this. Yeah.
Yeah. Just remind me. Chapter 1, the contract that we didn't know we signed at the next fire ceremony. That'll be enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I had to turn off the car. I couldn't get you off of Bluetooth. And wow, what a great call. I got in really late, but enough to be able to capture this contract thing. And I will absolutely hold you accountable on that because it's something that we all get to do. And wow, thank you for that. That it just so resonated with me, every bit of it. And God only knows we all have contracts that we didn't know we signed, and are regretting. And I think that's just like such an amazing way, a great way to start the new year. You know, without these contracts. And thank you so much. I will absolutely hold you accountable on our next fireside chat.
Awesome.
And
Now,
happy holidays to everybody.
yes.
Love you.
Happy holidays to you guys. Now, I want to just kind of bring a conclusion to this conversation. Of course, we can still share a couple more things after, but just like little Alex, what did little Alex need? Little Alex needed not for discipline, not to be shamed, not to be guilted, not even for correction, not for toughness. Little Alex didn't need all of that. Little Alex needed someone to understand and to be compassionate, right? Love will teach. We do not need to teach anybody anything. We just need to love them, and love will teach. So as we start to bring and recognize the contracts we didn't know that we signed, we don't need to blame anyone at all. We can just meet it with compassion. Oh man, that's what I went through. That's what little Alex went through. Right? Here's the compassion for it. And that's how you're still acting. Little Alex is still acting out today at almost 40. Here's some compassion to it. You know, even if as I'm saying that, like, it's emotional, you know? So, when we can recognize what has happened, when we can put a name to it, it will no longer need to be rerun over and over. Okay, what we've done is the contract was signed and it's shoved somewhere so deep that we have no idea where it is. And as we bring them to light, we don't need to go and do so much work and blame it and figure it out. No, don't go down the rabbit hole with that thing. Just take that thing and say, it's null and void. It no longer serves me anymore. It actually has never served me. No, sorry. It has served me, but it no longer serves me now. It's being brought to truth, to light. That I signed under a state of mind that I forgot. I forgot who I was. I forgot that I'm an extension of God. I'm a child of God. I forgot that I am spirit. You know, and from that place, we signed all these freaking contracts. And also, nobody's holding us to them. We're holding ourselves to it. That's the crazy part. Nobody's trying to enforce the contract. So, awesome. Thank you guys for this like super, super powerful call. I will, I'm not going to post the chapter I wrote yet, but if you want me to share that with you, you can message me directly. It's still a work in progress, and I'm going to continue to work on it this week. And I'm moving into this next section where it's like the cost. You know, the cost of what all of this is. So, whew. Thank you all so much.
Great call. Thank you. So much.
All right. I want to introduce everybody also to... Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. The language you used, the imagery you gave me and us, just amazing. Thank you.
All right, well, I want to reintroduce you to who once was Samsara, and now she is Tala. So, hello, Sister Tala. So happy to see you here.
You didn't have to make that announcement, but hi, everyone.
I know, I just wanted to. Just wanted to say thank you for coming and thank you for witnessing this part of the call. And miss you and love you and can't wait to see you. All right, everybody. So much blessing to you all. And may peace be with everyone. And your
Thank you,
little
Alex.
selves. All right. See
Thanks,
you,
Alex.
everyone.
Alex.
Thank you.